Siri used to be a punchline, and not even a good one. It was the kind of joke everyone made at Apple's expense. Just ask ChatGPT. Siri doesn't know anything. She can't even set two timers. We all lived it. And for years, Apple just took the hit. But something shifted because Apple just walked back onto that stage and said, "We heard you." And what they unveiled is not a patch. It's not a gimmick. It is a ground up reinvention of what an AI assistant is supposed to be. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect to feel what I felt watching it, which was genuinely shocked. Let me show you exactly what changed, why it matters, and why this might be the most important AI move Apple has ever made. Real quick, I'm Cody, and if you're new here, Crux's TV is where I dig into the biggest moves happening in AI and tech and actually explain what they mean for you. If that's what you're looking for, hit subscribe. We drop new videos every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Now, let's get into it. Point one, Siri finally has a brain. The old Siri wasn't really an AI. I mean, functionally, it was a voice-activated search bar with a personality bolted on. You'd ask it something slightly off script and it would just blank. I found this on the web. Thanks, Siri. Super helpful. The new Siri is built on Apple's own large language model foundation, deeply integrated with what they're calling Apple Intelligence. And that changes everything. Not a smarter search, a system that actually understands context, intent, and nuance. You can ask a follow-up question. You can reference something you said 30 seconds ago. It tracks. That alone is a massive leap. Every AI assistant that actually works does this. Apple is just finally there. Took a while, but okay. Point two, on-device processing, and why that's a huge deal. This part isn't getting nearly enough attention. Apple's entire pitch with Apple Intelligence is that most of it runs directly on your device. On the chip, not in some server farm in Virginia. Why does that matter? Two words, privacy and speed. When your data never leaves your phone, Apple can't sell it, train on it, or lose it in a breach. And processing happens in milliseconds because there's no round trip to a cloud server. They're calling the framework private cloud compute for the heavier tasks, which means even when something does go to the cloud, it's processed in a sealed environment that Apple themselves can't access. Independent researchers can audit it. That's not a marketing line, by the way. That's a technical architecture decision that took years to build. Compare that to how most AI companies work. Your data, their servers, their rules. Apple flipped the model entirely. Point three, it's woven into everything, not just a voice button. Old Siri lived in a bubble. You pressed a button, talked to it, it did a thing, and that was it. It didn't know what was on your screen. It didn't know what you were reading. It didn't know anything about your context. New Apple Intelligence is embedded system-wide. Lives in your messages, your mail, your notes, your photos, your calendar. It's not a separate app you launch. It's the operating layer running underneath everything. You know what that actually unlocks? You can be writing an email and ask Siri to find the attachment from last Tuesday's thread with your manager and insert it. Done. You can be in photos and ask it to find pictures of your dog from the beach in 2022. Done. Highlight a paragraph in notes and say, make this shorter and more professional. Done. That's not a feature. That's a paradigm shift. Point four, ChatGPT is now inside your iPhone, and Apple controls the gate. This is where it gets really interesting. Apple made a deal with OpenAI. ChatGPT is now integrated directly into Siri. But, and this is the key part, Apple is the gatekeeper. No ChatGPT account needed. No login. When Siri thinks a question needs ChatGPT's deeper capabilities, it asks your permission before sending anything. You say yes, it goes. It answers, it comes back. No data stored, no profile built on you. What Apple actually did here, they turned the world's most powerful AI into a feature of their ecosystem. They didn't lose to OpenAI. They absorbed them. And if they swap out OpenAI for Google Gemini or their own model next year, you won't even notice. Because to you, it's just Siri. Most people are completely sleeping on how significant that is. Point 5. Writing tools that are actually useful. Apple Intelligence ships with system-level writing tools that work across every app on your phone, not just Apple apps. Every app. Rewrite text, adjust tone, professional, casual, friendly, concise. Summarize a thread of 47 emails into 3 bullet points. Proofread without copying anything into a separate tool. The number that puts this in perspective: Apple has over 2 billion active devices worldwide. 2 billion. When writing tools this capable ship at the OS level to that many people, you're not talking about a product launch anymore. You're talking about a behavioral shift for hundreds of millions of users who would never download a writing AI app on their own. This is how Apple moves. Not first, but everywhere, all at once. Point 6. Image Playground and Genmoji. Personalization just got weird. Okay, this one's fun. Apple built a native image generation tool called Image Playground. You can generate images in different artistic styles: animation, illustration, sketch, directly on your device. Inside messages, inside notes. But the one that genuinely caught me off guard: Genmoji. You can generate a custom emoji of a real person. Type in a description or pick someone from your contacts, and it creates a cartoon version of them. Send it in a text. It's unhinged in the best way. I kind of love it. Is this the most powerful AI feature on the list? No. But it shows something Apple understands that I think a lot of AI companies miss. They're not just building productivity tools. They're building emotional connection into AI. They want this stuff to feel fun, personal, and human. And that's actually how you get 2 billion people to use something. Point 7. This is Apple's long game, and they're playing it better than anyone. Zoom out for a second, because the real story here isn't any single feature. It's the strategy. Apple spent years watching the AI race happen. They watched OpenAI explode. They watched Google stumble with Bard. They watched Microsoft bet everything on Copilot. The whole time, people were writing Apple's obituary in AI. And honestly, I was skeptical too. I'm not going to pretend I wasn't. But Apple was building, quietly, on-device chips powerful enough to run large language models, a privacy framework that makes regulators happy, a distribution network of 2 billion devices that no AI company on earth can touch. They didn't need to be first. They needed to be right. And if the execution matches the demo, and that's always the question with Apple, isn't it? They just leapfrog the entire field without firing a single flashy shot. So where do I actually land on this? Siri went from being the joke of the AI world to being the most privately integrated, deeply embedded, hardware-optimized AI assistant on the planet. In one announcement, that's not nothing. That's a complete 180. The question now is whether Apple delivers. The demo was impressive. The architecture is genuinely smart. But Apple has overpromised before, and I've been burned enough times watching keynotes to know the gap between stage and shelf can be brutal. So I'm cautiously excited. Emphasis on cautiously. If you want me to do a deep dive on how Apple Intelligence compares to Google, Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot head-to-head, drop a comment below. If enough of you want it, I'll build it out this week. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? This is exactly the kind of video we make every week. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.